Hi, I'm John Emmett and welcome to the autumn qualifiers, and what a difference a day makes. Yesterday I think was under 15 knots all day. Today we've seen gusts of 50 knots, so no sailing and time to speak to some of the champions.
Hi, I'm Matilda Nicholls. I'm an ILCA 6 sailor on the British sailing team, and we're here at the autumn qualifiers.
My name's Elliot Hanson. I'm an ILCA 7 sailor. Yeah, I was the Tokyo 2020 rep for Great Britain in the laser class.
I'm Alex Jones. I sail out of Parkstone Yacht Club. I've been sailing the ILCA 4 for just over a year now. Parkstone's a club in Poole Harbour. There's lots of channels in Poole Harbour, so you get quite good at tidal sailing, and also Brownsea Island makes it quite shifty, so you get quite good at reading the shifts and what it's going to do next.
Yeah, so I've since the Nationals had a month off of sailing, just away from all of it, and then got back to it last week. And that was sort of kicking off this next Olympic cycle. Back to full training on the water, in the gym, on the bike, and fun to finish the first week with a qualifier.
We're here in Weymouth from Portland National Sailing Academy for the second of the autumn qualifiers, where sailors will look to try and qualify for Worlds and Europeans next year. We did 4 races today because tomorrow's forecast is gusts of I think over 40 knots. So yeah, despite the updated forecast models, that's not improved, so no racing tomorrow.
But I'm super excited for this next cycle, so really going for it this year. We've got our Worlds coming up in Qingdao in May, and a couple smaller events before then. And then our Europeans are in the second week of August. So we've got a nice spread out year, plenty to work on. Heard it can be a bit of a tricky venue. It was pretty light in Beijing for the Olympics, but we are going in May, which is a different time of year, so fingers crossed it might be a bit better than the Olympics.
So today we did 4 races in the harbour in a backing breeze, which is actually really tricky. Yeah, I mean, I've raced in the harbour for years and years and years and struggle actually to remember a day that was as tricky as that. I think often autumn, when the water's still quite warm and the air moves over, it can be tricky, but we also had a breeze moving 30-ish degrees left in the forecast, and it kind of changed the strategy for us certainly in every race. But what we did have in the ILCA 7s was a lot of one shift first beats, and consequently it's very hard to overtake when you're on outer loop, flat water, kind of 8 to 10 knots, you know, when everyone's kind of similar speed. So yeah, those were probably the big priorities today, is to try and round the windward mark high, and then not a huge amount changed. To round the windward mark well, you've got to start well, and then get onto the first shift. And what was really tricky is knowing if it was going to come back or if it was going to just keep winding, as happened once or twice today. But yeah, no real tricks there. Some people, I think you could argue that, you know, 270, 280 breeze, then the right hand side's pretty good, and starts to get 250s, 260s, and have an eye on the left, especially if it's forecast to go that way. There's a bit of that today. But then actually, interestingly, the outer loop was also more tricky than normal for us today, so yeah, it wasn't simple.
My weekend was quite consistent. I had a 4th, 3rd, 3rd, 4th, which put me in 1st overall. It was very shifty, so you just kind of had to consolidate any gains you got from going out to one of the corners. I never went far out to a corner because it was quite risky, and you didn't really know what was going to happen next. You don't need to win a race to win a championship. I think you've just got to be consistently up there, because all the people around me had maybe a 1st and then a 20th. If you just consistently bang out some good races, you'll get quite a good result.
Yeah, so we have another qualifier here next weekend. Yeah, hopefully the Indian summer holds and we can have another great days, or 2 days racing, even better. And then for me personally, I'm just looking to do enough to qualify for the Worlds in Qingdao, which are in May next year, and then take a view on a further decision whether I want to do a full Olympic campaign or not. But we need to do these qualifiers to do those World Championships.
Graduated this summer, so just full focus on the sailing this time. Recently got some winging equipment to have a slightly different hobby on the side, but haven't had much time for that recently. Just lots of meetings about getting the calendar sorted, and before I know it, in about a month's time we'll be off to Villamora for a winter of training. Yeah, winging has become a bit of a hobby. I mean, lots of us have gotten into it. The equipment's just super easy to set up, and good way to learn foiling. Portland's perfect for it with the flat water in the harbour. I mean, I've only been out 3 times and I can only stand up on one side and I freak out when I get foiling. So there's a lot to work on with that, but yeah, little fun side hobby. Villamora is not the best place for learning, so I think it will stay here for now, yeah.
I'll hopefully do the Wasp Worlds in the summer. I'll do some GPs in the Wasps, but trying to also stick in the ILCA. Looking forward to the Nationals maybe next year.
Sorry, John.